just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? And welcome back to another episode of the Nose Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka The Nose. First off, as you see, I got my United States hat on as the United States took on Paraguay last night to start their World Cup journey. At halftime, we were up 3-0. We looked amazing in that first half. We ended up winning 4-1. So that was a really nice way to start the World Cup. I don't know if you guys know or if I've mentioned it, but I have placed a bet on the United States to make the quarterfinals. Don't see them going to the semis, but I think this is going to be a really good showing for the United States men's national team. But enough with that. Let's get on into the NASCAR part of the show, and we've got a loaded show for you today. We're going to recap everything that happened at Michigan, break down one of the wildest races of the season, and then we're going to look at how our fantasy recap lineup did and our best bets performed. And then we're going to shift our focus to one of the most unique tracks of the NASCAR schedule as the Cup Series heads over to Pocono Raceway for the Great American Getaway 400. So let's get right into it. Denny Hamlin, he continues to remind everyone why he's one of the greatest drivers of this generation. Denny Hamlin captured the victory in the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway, earning his second consecutive win and the 63rd victory of the Cup Series career. And this wasn't your typical dominant performance, though. Hamlin won the pole, but before the green flag even waved, the number 11 car team had to be they were forced to drop back to the rear of the field. This is 2 weeks in a row where he's been on the pole and something happens that he had to go to the rear. It was like an inspection or something the 1 week, and then he jumped the green flag. It's just chaotic. But I mean, most drivers would spend the afternoon fighting just to get back into contention, but not the 11 car, not Denny Hamlin. His method, it carved his way through the pack, showing patience early before running up the aggressive on when it mattered most. He took the lead for the final time on lap, I think it was 162, and absolutely checkered out from the field. When the checkered flag flew, Hamlin crossed the finish line. It was amazing that he's number 11. He won by 11.11 seconds ahead of Eric Jones. That's the largest margin of victory of his entire Cup Series career. Simply put, it was just a masterpiece, and just how crazy it was that he's number 11. He won by 11.11 seconds. He was teammates with the late great Kyle Busch, and he ties Kyle Busch for 63rd career victory. And he had an amazing flag that was made. And then I don't know if you guys saw, but his burnout, he did like a number 8 on his burnout. That was pretty cool. That was pretty amazing. Over at Michigan, your stage winners, Tyler Reddick picked up his first stage victory of the season by winning stage 1, and then Chase Elliott captured the stage 2 victory and looked poised to contend for the win before disaster struck later on in that race. The terrifying red flag incident on lap 149, one of the scariest moments of the season, unfolded. On the restart, Chase Elliott got loose and made contact with Christopher Bell. The impact sent Bell hard into turn 3 and 4, safer barrier at the alarming angle. The hit visibly damaged the wall, forcing NASCAR to throw the red flag for intensive repairs. Thankfully, both Elliott and Christopher Bell climbed from their cars under their own power. However, Christopher Bell later suffered a fractured left wrist and ankle injuries. it was a scary moment, and it just reminded of us just how dangerous this sport can actually be. I think if that wreck would have been back in the early 2000s, 2010 area, that wreck could have been, we could have been talking about maybe another Dale Earnhardt incident. We don't know, but thankfully, thank God that these cars are much safer now than they were 20 years ago. The big one at Michigan, just a few laps later, chaos erupted again. 5 laps later, on lap 154, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Michael McDowell made contact on the front stretch, triggering a chain reaction that collected multiple contenders. You had Noah Gragson, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Ryan Preece all eliminated in the massive pileup. Michigan delivered speed, strategy, and survival. A tribute to a legend. Like I said, Hamlin got his 63rd career victory, moved him into a tie for 9th on the all-time wins list alongside the late, great Kyle Busch. Following the race, Danny Hamlin honored Busch by holding a number 8 flag out of his window during the celebration. It was a touching moment and a fitting tribute to one of NASCAR's legends. My final lineup, it only scored 174 points this week. I could have easily, got more if I would have changed some of the matchups, but this is how it broke down. Kyle Larson gave me 33 points, and that was with 11 stage points. Ty Gibbs, he gave me 21 points, but he had 9 stage points. And then Danny Hamlin, of course, gave me 58 points. He was my leading scorer this week, or last week. But he only had 3 stage points, so it could have been a lot more if he didn't get penalized and went to the rear. He could have got stage 1 points. And, of course, the race, you got the race win. So there was 55 points right there. Zane Smith, he was running well, but he gave me 10 points. He had 6 stage points. He was running well, but then he got caught up into some mess. And then Chris Buescher gave me 31 points. That was with 3 stage points. And I decided to keep Brad Keselowski in the garage after he managed just 3 points. So keep that. Ended up being it was the right move. Like before stage 3, I moved Brad Keselowski into my lineup, then back out, then back in, and then I forgot what happened to him totally. But after he was not going to finish the race, I just kept him in the garage and was done with that. It wasn't our best fantasy performance of the year, but we'll take the 174 points and move on over to Pocono. My matchups, as for the head-to-head matchups, it wasn't pretty. We only cashed one of the 4 matchups, and that was Danny Hamlin over Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick was running really good. Then something happened to him. So sometimes you just grind out a winning week, but sometimes you'll have a losing week. So the sportsbook punched really good last week. The best bets. We did have some good news in this. The best bets absolutely delivered. We finished 5 for the 8 bets. We had 8 bets on the card, and 5 of them hit. The winners included Toyota to win the race because Danny Hamlin, Eric Jones a top 10 as he got second place overall. So that was a really good showing. There's more on him later on in this show. Chris Buescher, he had a top 10. Carson Hocevar had a top 10. And Bubba Wallace with the top 10 as he finished 3rd place. It was a profitable week overall, and we'll try to build on that momentum heading into Pocono. So the NASCAR Cup Series now heads to one of the most unique venues in all of motorsports. The iconic Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway. This weekend's race, the Great American Getaway 400. It is the 16th points paying race of the 2026 season. And all eyes are once again on that 11 car of Danny Hamlin. Can the 7-time Pocono winner extend his winning streak to 3 straight races? There's more on that later on. Or will we see someone else steal the spotlight? While Pocono is different, Pocono isn't like any other track. It's 3 turns that are modified after 3 completely different speedways. Every corner demands something different from the race car. The challenge here, crew chiefs have to build a compromise. You can make your car perfect in turn 1, but that setup might destroy the balance in turn 3. It's a constant chaos match. Track positioning here, it matters. Passing under green flag can be incredibly difficult at Pocono. Qualifying near the front is a must here. I feel that way. Excluding flawlessness, pit stops, managing strategy. These details often determine who wins and who doesn't. Clean air is king here. Keep an eye on the weather, though, as Mother Nature may have a say in this weekend. Sunday's forecast calls for a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms, and Pocono doesn't have lights there, so that means getting past the halfway point, which is at lap 80, could become extremely important if rain moves into the area. So if you're looking at your lineup for Pocono and you're at lap 70, 75, and they're talking about rain could possibly be coming in, and your garage driver has more points than, say, one of your other drivers, you might want to move him into your lineup so you can get the most points just in case if it does rain and they have to call the race. Strategy could decide this race before the final lap is even run. The top betting favorites, the top 5 betting favorites this week is, of course, Denny Hamlin, who's a 7-time winner at Pocono. He's plus 270. He's the undisputed favorite. Like I said, he's a seven-time victor here. I think his average in the next gen car, his average start is is 3.5, and his average finish is 1.5. So he has back-to-back wins entering this weekend. He's chasing history here, folks. Next, you got Tyler Reddick at plus 600, the regular season points leader with a strong average starting position here at Pocono. Ryan Blaney is plus 800. This is the site of his first Cup Series victory, and he's always a permanent threat at the tricky triangle. Kyle Larson is plus 850. Elite speed every single week and one of the most heavily backed drivers in matchup markets. Chase Briscoe is plus 900. He is the defending race winner who dominated last year's event by leading 72 laps. So speaking of the lineup, this is my Pocono lineup, and of course I'm going with the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, to start it off. I think I only have 2 Denny Hamlins left to use this season. So, I mean, he's a 7-time Pocono winner. He has 6 top 2 finishes in the last 9 starts here. He leads active drivers in top 5s, top 10s, and laps led. You simply don't want to overthink this one. You have to put Hamlin in your lineup. My next driver will be Chase Elliott. He's the 2022 Pocono winner, the only driver to finish inside the top 10 in all 4 next-gen races at this track. He's always up there when it matters most. My next driver will be Chase Briscoe. Like I said, he is last year's winner. Joe Gibbs Racing Equipment. I mean, a point-focused approach with race-winning upside here for the 19 car. My next driver will be Brad Keselowski, and I was big on Brad Keselowski last week at Michigan, with that being his home track. And then something happened to him, and he was out of the race. He has back-to-back DNFs. That has him desperate for a rebound. Fortunately, Pocono has historically been one of his best tracks. He leads active drivers in average finishes here. My next driver will be the 43 car of Eric Jones. I cannot talk. This guy is just unbelievable right now. He is one of the hottest sleepers in the field. Jones has quickly been outstanding at Pocono during the next-gen era, and he continues to gain momentum. My garage driver will be Bubba Wallace, who finished 3rd place last week. I think Bubba is starting to click. He owns an average finish of 19 at Pocono, which is not good, but his recent performance tells a different story. He finished 11th or better in four of his last 5 races at the Tricky Triangle. If needed, he's a solid insurance policy. Going over the matchups, we got Denny Hamlin versus Chase Elliott. This was a tough one here because I think Chase Elliott's going to be in the top 5, top 10. But I got to go with Denny Hamlin. Track positioning should favor the 11 car here, and nobody understands Pocono better than Denny Hamlin. Next, you have Chris Buescher versus Joey Logano. My pick here will be Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher has been incredibly steady, and I like the upside of the 17 car this weekend. Joey Logano, I think, will be in the top 10. There's more on that later. But I do think Chris Buescher will finish ahead of him. Next, we have Ryan Blaney versus Chase Briscoe. I got to go with Chase Briscoe here. Toyota has been dominating this season, and Briscoe enters with confidence after winning here last year. Next, the last matchup is Eric Jones versus Alex Bowman. My pick here is Eric Jones. Bowman's struggle this season contrasts sharply with Jones's recent surge. The momentum matters here. I do think Bowman will be in a threat for a top 10, but so do I think about that with Eric Jones as well. But I think with how Eric Jones has been running the last couple of weeks and Bowman has struggled, I do have to give Jones the edge here. And he's in the Toyota. And I think Toyota is just amazing right here. My 36 for 36 pick this week will be his teammate, the 42 car, John Hunter Nemechek. Sometimes fantasy baseball teaches you not every swing is a home run. The same applies here. Nemechek has been better than the results than they suggest, and they have repeatedly shown a top 10 speed this season. He qualified 4th here last spring and turned that into a 6th place finish. I think he provides tremendous value this weekend. My best bets this week will be I'm putting it on Denny Hamlin to win outright. I got William Byron a top 10, Ryan Blaney a top 10, Eric Jones I'm once again going to him for a top 10. Brad Keselowski, last week I had him as a top 10 bet. It didn't cash, but I think this week it will cash. I have Brad Keselowski a top 10, Bubba Wallace a top 10, John Hunter Nemechek a top 10, and Joey Logano I think will surprise people and get some good points here and get a top 10. I guess you can call this my top 10 bet. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Every single like, comment, and subscription helps the channel continue to grow. And I can't thank you guys enough for the support you've shown me. Until next time, this has been the Nose Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. The Nose. Enjoy the race, cash those tickets, and as always, God bless.